I forgot my mic at home, so all we got today is a glass of wine and a dream, people. Ignore the laundry. It is an ever-present fixture in any good European household in this time of year. I have a glass of red wine that is unfortunately ice cold. Today we're talking about maybe the best part of the year, which is reading goals, obviously. And I'm gonna talk with you about my reading goals that I had for 2025. Did I accomplish them? Didn't I accomplish them? Mostly I didn't. The ones that I've set for 2026. Very exciting stuff. Okay, let's get started. My reading goals for 2025. First of all, my number goal, 60 books. This has not happened. Actually, this has never happened. I think 60 books has been a soft goal of mine for a couple of years now. And it hasn't happened yet. I honestly don't think it ever will. However, 60 books is how many books I would actually read if I read as much as I would like to be reading, you know? So yeah, 60 books has not happened. However, there is an exciting turn of events with the number of books I've read. I've read 51 books, 52 books? 52 books, I think, this year, which is more than I have ever read in a single year. Usually I read between like 40 and 45-ish books. I've read less, I've read more, but that is generally where I land. And I read more than that this year, which is exciting. Do I have any feelings about that? No, it's exciting. I don't really care. I wanted to continue on Booktube and like get more into it, which I actually did. And I'm very proud of that. I think this has been the year where I have put out the most videos and also like done it over the longest period of time, which I like. I wanted to do more reading days / reading marathons, but like just more casual. Like set a day aside to consciously or intentionally like focus on reading, and I did not do this. Reading intentionally and also for like a larger chunk of time has been very difficult for me this year. I'm not really sure why. It's not really happened for me this year. I do like this goal. I like the idea behind it, like taking aside a day to pursue a hobby and like really get lost in it. I like this idea. I don't know, I haven't done it. All my books should get a written review. I haven't done this in the sense I haven't done all of my books. However, I've probably written more reviews than I have ever before. I've also shared more reviews than I have ever before because I also, as I said, did YouTube more consistently, but also just like on Goodreads and Storygraph. You can follow me in the description if you would like. I do write reviews for most of the books I read now. I don't post all of them, sometimes for like very stupid reasons, but yeah, I do write reviews for a lot of the books I read. Or if I don't write a review, I will at least like talk about my thoughts in a vlog or something. So they are like my review is immortalized somewhere. This one I did not do, and actually I completely forgot about this goal, and that is to collect quotes. I talked about this in my sexy reading habits video. I think knowing quotes is hot, and I think like paying attention to beautiful strings of words is beautiful and incredible, and I want to do it more, and I have not this year. And I think for now I'm fine with that. This is not really a goal I would carry over. I don't really see what purpose it would serve in my life right now. The next one's kind of funny. Regularly do TBRs. No. No. I like the idea of a TBR in the sense that like I cannot stick to shit to save my life, and the idea of being committed to something excites me, but it's not gonna happen, no. I'm doing the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. One thing I'm coming to learn, and one thing we will talk about in a second, is the fact that I actually hate TBRs. Yeah, so this is not something that I would ever consider carry over. I wrote these apparently on the 1st of January, and so I wrote down to finish a book on the 1st of January. That didn't happen. I honestly don't know what I was on about when I wrote that. And the last one was to read more short books and also more audiobooks. Or like specifically listen to short books as audiobooks, I guess. And this did happen. I don't know if my average book this year is actually shorter than it was last year or the year before, but I definitely have a lot of the audiobooks I listened to this year were a little bit on the shorter side, and that's just really worked out for me. I did a lot of walking this year, took a lot of beautiful nature walks, and as part of that I would usually listen to an audiobook, and short audiobooks just helped me feel like I was continuously making progress in a story while also making progress on my path, if that makes sense. So I enjoyed doing that, and I do think that was a good goal. I honestly completely forgot that I had written on that one, but I think it worked out. I think this is something I actually did do, and it actually did. When I was writing this, I think my idea was also to, first of all, just utilize audiobooks more. I think up until this year, my problem with audiobooks was just that it felt like a chore to get through them. Like every time I had something where I could multitask, I felt like I had to listen to an audiobook. Whereas this year with my walks, I just had this designated time slot every day where I knew theoretically I could listen to an audiobook if nothing else. And that in combination with being able to actually finish quite a few books in a relatively short amount of time really motivated me to get more into audiobooks, which I now really enjoy, and I'm very grateful because audiobooks used to be probably my least favorite means to consume a story, and I feel very neutral about them now, so that's an improvement. Those were my goals for 2025. They were pretty mild, I would say. There's nothing crazy on here except the 60 books. I'm never going to read 60 books in a year, and I just have to accept that. Everything else was just it made sense at the time. It didn't necessarily make sense all throughout the year, you know? So let's now go into the reading goals that make sense at this moment in time. First of all, read 60 books. I know I just said I'm never going to achieve this, but again, I don't actually care about the number. Every single year there's so many people that are like, oh, I feel so stressed by the number, or I'm going to set my reading goal to 1 book so I don't feel stressed by my Goodreads goal. And like, that's great. I don't care. Okay, I don't care about being a failure. One thing about me, I am so unambitious. And like, I mean, not necessarily unambitious in like the sense that I'm lazy, just unambitious in the sense that I don't dream of fitting a statistic, you know? And so I don't care if I fail my reading goal. I failed it in the past. One year I even like had a couple of people in my feed just talk about doing the 1 book for the year thing, and I was like, you know what, I'll just try. And I put my reading goal as 1, and then I read the 1 book, and then I felt so bored and like, I don't know, it just felt kind of pointless, so I set it back to a higher number. So I truly cannot stress this enough. I do not care how many books in a year I read, okay? I usually set my reading goal for 40 books on Storygraph and Goodreads just because that's a number I know I will reach. That's not a number that would stress me out. That's not a number, if I ever fall behind, that I wouldn't be able to catch up on or whatever. So that's usually the number I set online, but in my head I'm like, 60 books would be such a sexy number. If I was able to focus on reading the way that I would like to focus on reading, 60 books is how much I would be reading. I can't really explain that any further, you're just gonna have to take my word for it, but in my head 60 books is what I'm meant to be reading in a year. Okay, next up, I want to read 3 German classics. Talked about this a little bit this year. I'm German, and I don't know shit about the German literary canon, and I want to change that. I read a book by Hermann Hesse this year. I read Steppenwolf, which is obviously a very famous book from the 20th century that takes place in like an unnamed German city. It doesn't matter what it's about. Point is, it's a very popular, famous German book, and I was surprised by how good it was. Not necessarily, maybe good is not the right term. I was surprised by how approachable I found it and how accessible I found it, and it just really made me want to get more into German literature. I definitely want to read a Thomas Mann this year. I think arguably Thomas Mann is probably the most famous German writer, maybe with Goethe or something. I would like to read one of his works, I don't know which one. And then maybe another Hermann Hesse, who knows? We're gonna figure something out, but that's definitely a goal I have for this year. In general, I would like to read more diversely in languages. Next up is using the library. This has been a very exciting year for me in the library, in the sense that I, for the first time ever, not ever, but like since I was a kid, am a library user now, and like a regular library user. And actually, like, obviously there's so many, like, the resources a library provides are awesome, but I'm also talking just about like the physical space of the library. I'm a university student and I have like very few lectures this semester, and so I just have a lot of time that I could, or that I am spending at home, and I can just go to the library when I have a day off or an afternoon off or whatever, because the library is very nice where I live. It's very comfortable. There's so much stuff going on. And you know what? It's like not far away from my house or anything. So that's definitely something I want to do. Also, just utilizing the media catalog more and finding books that maybe I wouldn't have in a bookstore or on the internet, and just like being more open to using this beautiful community place. I truly do believe that libraries are the last good place on earth, and I want to keep them going as long as possible. This one's just me being so special. I'm just so different to everyone else, okay? I want to continue buying a lot of books, and I want to continue to allow myself to buy books. I don't have any numbers on this. This is purely vibes based. I would say that this has probably been my most purchase heavy reading year so far. Maybe. I feel like I bought a lot of books this year, and I loved it. I had a grand old time, and I think it's awesome. And I'm not somebody, like, when I say I bought a lot of books, if I had to guess, I would say I probably bought like 30, maybe 40 books this year, which is a lot of books. But if you're active in the online book space, you know there are people that are buying like 300 books in a year. That's not me. That's never gonna be me, unless I ever win the lottery or something. But for now, that's not gonna be me anytime soon, and I'm alright with that. But I do enjoy buying a book. I just enjoy owning books. I like my little bookshelf. I like putting books on there. I have also really come to enjoy a physical book this year. I think especially in 2024, because obviously I was in China and I didn't have a lot of physical books. I really grew to appreciate my e-reader. I read so much on my e-reader in 2024, and while I still love and enjoy the flexibility that my e-reader gives me, I have really come to appreciate a physical book this year. So yeah, I want to continue purchasing books, and I want to continue to do so guilt-free. I want to continue to allow myself to purchase books. I'm not in a place where I have to worry about over-consuming books in a way that would be harmful to me, the environment, my wallet, anything like that. And so there's no reason for me to stress about how many books I read, and I just want to continue having a good time with that. I then again wrote down writing reviews for everything I read. In the first half of the year, I was actually really good about using the reading journal. In the second half, not so. I mean, this part is empty. But in the second half, not so much. I really fell off after May or so, and I'm not sure if I actually want to go back to writing the reviews physically, just because I also do like to share them on Goodreads and on YouTube. And so, like, is there a point in writing it out physically and then typing it off and then also telling you about it? I don't know, but I do want to, because I just think having a review of something is a great way, first of all, to just remember the book and the reading experience as in general, but also to just like engage with the text and also with other readers. I just love like reading book reviews, and I love when people comment on my book reviews and stuff like that. It's just, I like the conversation that it brings, and so I think it's something I would like to continue doing. This one's a little bit crazy. I'm just gonna say it. I want to give fantasy books another chance. I know. Settle down, everyone. Nobody is as surprised as me, okay? I've said this time and time before. I think romance readers and fantasy readers in particular, they have more fun than me. I think they're happier people. I think they have more joy in their lives. I think they are more engaging more with the books they read. I just think I want to be like that. And the whole romance thing, listen, I have tried with romance. I have really, really tried, okay? And I fear it's just not my genre, and that's fine. That is a-okay. However, fantasy, have I ever read a high fantasy? I've read Lord of the Rings. Did I like Lord of the Rings though? I've never given a high fantasy a proper chance. Like, even when I read Lord of the Rings, it was kind of unexpected that I actually finished it. I'm like still surprised that I've read Lord of the Rings. I don't think I've ever given a fair chance to a high fantasy novel. And frankly, maybe that's because I don't care, but I don't know. There's so many books recently that have been put on my radar that just sound really good and so intriguing. And there are so many books that like people on the internet talk about, okay? And they're all fantasy. I'm like, I don't like fantasy, but maybe I would if I actually gave it another chance. So I haven't written down, there's no like numbers attached to this. It's not like I want to read like 5 fantasy books or whatever. I just want to give a fair shot to a fantasy book. I have read Six of Crows and I enjoyed that. However, like with Six of Crows, for example, I feel like I enjoyed that despite it being a fantasy, not because it was a fantasy. There are also plenty of like, I obviously enjoyed like the YA urban fantasies, like I obviously enjoy Percy Jackson. And even though I don't enjoy Cassandra Clare, I keep reading her books. So like, those books clearly have an appeal to me, but it's a difficult relationship between me and fantasy. But as I said, I'm gonna give it another chance. I'm gonna give it an honest shot. And if I hate it, then at least I'll know, you know? Okay, next up is queer books. That's literally all I wrote down. I want to read more queer stories. Part of this is that I just think that like there's so many beautiful stories about queer people by queer people, and it's just I am not queer. I think. Who knows? Honestly, I don't think I'm queer, but because of that, I do think that it is actually so important for me to immerse myself in queer stories, because I want to make sure that I'm someone that is safe for queer people, that queer people can feel safe around. I always, like, recently I've been in a little bit of a baby fever moment, and I have been talking so much about, like, I'm so scared that my kids are gonna be like afraid about coming out to me, or like telling me how they feel about a certain person, or that they just don't know anything about LGBTQ identities and all of these things. Like, I don't want my kids to feel alone. I don't want to provide an environment where they would feel isolated and alone because of who they are. That is like such an irrational fear, but it is a fear nonetheless. And so, yeah. I think part of this is also, I read Heartstopper this year, and like, Alice Oseman is actually my one true love, okay? I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah. I think the queer books is just something I want to prioritize. Again, no number attached. As I said, I hate being told what to do, especially when it comes to books, okay? So I'm gonna write down queer books, and we're gonna figure it out throughout the year. Okay, this one actually does have a number goal, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I want to read 6 nonfiction books. This is a little bit of an odd choice. I've never been someone who particularly enjoyed reading nonfiction. However, this year, 2 of my 3 top reads of this year have been nonfictions. To be fair, they're the only nonfictions that I've read, but All About Love and The Anxious Generation were like truly life-changing. And so I do think I would like to get some more of that juice, you know? I would like to read more in this genre and also just like see what's out there. I feel like I've noticed this only online. I don't know that many people that are just a couple of years older than me, but like online I've noticed a lot of booktubers that are like a few years older than me that they would start like suddenly be really into nonfiction. And like, I think that's me. I think that maybe that's just getting like growing up a little bit more. So yeah, I would like to read 6 nonfiction books. I haven't picked these out yet. I'm currently reading Braiding Sweetgrass, so probably that's gonna be one of them. I would also like to read The Amazing Generation by Jonathan Haidt, which is the sequel / companion to The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. So I would like to read that one. That one comes out beginning of January. Yeah. And then we're just gonna figure out the rest as the year goes. I feel like I'm already so tipsy. I truly cannot take any alcohol. I'm such a lightweight when it comes to alcohol. Okay. I want to continue on Booktube, but I need to figure out some of the how. Because in my mania that has been started by The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, I have also really come to question how I post. Because like consuming content on social media, that one I can pretty clearly say is mostly unhealthy, unnecessary, bad for me in every conceivable way. However, with posting, I like creating videos, and I also like the conversations I can have through creating online and sharing online. However, I get no views, right? Like I get like, that's not no views, but I get very few views on my channel. And still I like obsessively will check YouTube Studio. Still I will like obsessively optimize my video to reach more people. And it's just like, that's no fun. I don't want to edit a third thumbnail for this video that clearly nobody's interested in, because maybe this time the algorithm will pick it up. That's not why I'm making YouTube videos, right? And so I'm working on how to do this in a way that's better for me and just makes this whole thing a little bit more fun. I've also written down the reading day thing. Aller guten Dinge sind zwei, maybe? I don't know. I do think... Actually, I don't know if this is something I will be able to implement this year. Again, I've been having a really hard time with like focusing on reading for a larger period of time. However, I do like the idea behind this, like having the intention, oh, like this weekend, this is what I'm gonna do, and then like buying some snacks and preparing some activities and picking out the perfect book. I do think that sounds really fun, and I would like to be in the headspace to do this year, but I don't know if I'll actually will be. And then the last one just reads books with under 1,000 reviews. One thing about me is that I hate being a basic bitch. I don't mean in like I'm not like other girls type of way, but more in a, not just because everyone's doing it doesn't mean it's the best thing to do, and maybe like branching out occasionally would be healthy for us all kind of way. And so I want to read a couple of books that just I've never heard of, that maybe don't have as many reviews on the internet, where maybe like sharing a review would actually inspire someone to pick it up. And with smaller books like those, it's just, I always feel like I'm so much more likely to post a review for a book that only has like 1,000 ratings, because I know that the likelihood of that review being seen and like that review actually inspiring someone on my Goodreads feed, for example, to put that book on there to be read or to actually pick that book up, it's just so much higher than if I was to review Agatar. And so this is just something I have had a little bit of fun with this year. I also just like researching obscure books. I really enjoy just like looking up niche forums and weird websites that focus on like very specific subgenres of shit, and just like getting down to the nitty-gritty, you know? I have a lot of fun with that. That brings us to the end of the video. I am shocked at how long I've been talking, and I will let you all go. Let me know your like number one priority goal for this year. My priority goal out of all of the ones I've shared is definitely the library. I want to borrow more books. I want to go to the physical place more. I want to use it more for audiobooks. I want to use all the, there's like a movie streaming service, and there's like magazines and newspapers. Like there's so many great resources provided by my library. That is my main goal for 2026, I think. So let me know what yours is, and I will see you all in the next video.